This episode was actually the start of the second play session on Gauntlet Hangouts. In it, we introduce a new character to the patrol, Thistle, who is beautifully characterized by Christo. We also do a little bit of housekeeping before play begins, including a discussion of Directives, which is a mechanic in the Woodlands, and scenes we'd like to see during the session. Enjoy.
And then when the fox brought the matriarch to its home, on the outskirts of the scent border, the hole was completely dark, and then that's when I fall asleep.
So it sounds like Renault has sentience then. Is Renault like a legendary, smart fox, basically?
That's the mythology,
That's the
but
myth.
it could,
Okay.
it could just be like a regular fox that we've, projected ourselves.
Or a regular mouse that people thought was clever, and he was called the fox, and he's slowly transformed into, an actual fox of legend.
No, it's good. It's something to play with for next session for sure. Like this idea of this mythological dangerous fox that maybe you guys talk about just as a legend, but Thrawn knows that there is in fact a fucking fox that the last patrol was not able to deal with, and so it's a problem. Good. Fergus, let me have that supply roll, and then you can make your recuperate roll as well, Bart.
Oh yeah, recoup. I got a 7.
As did I.
You got it. Okay, so help. Kelsey can be helping in the fiction, but the roll won't matter. So let's do the supply first. When you requisition supplies from the wardens or shop in a marketplace, roll with focus. They have what you're after, but it will come with serious strings attached. That's interesting. So here's the thing. You're in the market. Maybe it's the next morning as you guys are getting ready to head out or whatever. And you said you were talking with some of your old war buddies, right?
Yeah.
Is that the deal?
Yeah.
Good. Name your war buddy. Who are we talking to right now?
Samson.
Samson, he kind of gives you a friendly paw on the back, slaps your back a little bit, says, Fergus, it's really good to see you. I saw your patrol come in. I can't believe you're still walking the trails at your age.
Me either.
These tender paws, and let's face it, they're all tender paws until they stare down a pack of weasels like we did, right?
That's right.
They don't know how easy they have it these days. They really don't.
So speaking of tender paws, you remember back whenever we were tender paws? We made mistakes. Remember that one night we went to that inn and didn't come out until the next morning? It was not pretty.
It was quite a mistake. I had quite a few little tender paws on my hands after that, sometime thereafter, as I recall correctly.
Yeah. So it turns out we've got a tender paw with us in this patrol. She left some of our track behind, and I wanted to see if you had any trail rations or anything that you could help us out with.
We're just coming out of winter here. We've got grain and we've got seed. I can get that stuff for you, Fergus. But look, we haven't. It's so early in the season. We've got to go through. We've got to figure out who's entitled to what. We have to be really, really careful with how we distribute things until we start harvesting again. It's kind of a big ask here. It's a little unusual, you have to admit, for a mouse patrol to come just from Lockhaven, which is barely like a hop, skip, and a jump down the road, to come to Ivydale with no food. I tell you what. I saw that one of your companions in your patrol had a pretty nice looking sword on his back. Same companion had a bow. That's a little unusual, right? For a guard mice to have two different weapons.
It did, yeah.
I might be willing to trade you the food that you need for if I can borrow that sword for a while.
So I think that's a heavy price to pay, and I understand that food coming out of winter is very important. I think that would be enough supply for us to get to the scent border and back And whenever we come back, that's when we will need to return the sword back to the armorer. Does that sound good?
He's like, I can give you. He's like, well, you're somewhat limited by what you can carry just by virtue of you're still just a mouse, Fergus. I tell you what, I'll give you enough food to get you to where you headed, Spruce Tuck.
Spruce Tuck.
Get you to Spruce Tuck. You come and grab the sword on the way back. I gotta teach my little nephew the way of martial arms, and I could use a good blade.
So of course it's not my sword, but I'll have to talk to the other people in the patrol and see if that's okay, and we'll see if we can't do that.
He's like, if he doesn't want to comply, you can do like we used to do back in the war.
That's right. That's right. Give him a little what for.
Give him a little what for. You put a big heavy seed in a sock, and you
teach him the way. That's right.
You teach him the ways. All right.
I read the back of my head where there's this
right. Where you got seated. All right, good. We'll cut away from there. How'd your recuperate roll go, Bart?
I got a 7.
Okay, so you're all clear. Cool, yeah. Good. Fergus, do you just go find Bart?
So basically, yeah. I continue on and I look for other possibilities.
Mm.
I talk to other friends or people I know, see if I can get a better deal.
Yeah.
But because they're just coming out of winter,
it's a big ask. Yeah.
Yeah, we might be able to get enough for us to make it like halfway to Elmos, to that little town that's there at the fork. I go back to the guard and I tell, to the other guard mice, and I tell them, hey, I've got a deal, but it costs a lot. One of this one veteran I know who's, turned farmer here in Ivydale, he's got some, it's going to be costly, basically. These guys are still hungry. They're coming out of winter, and they need their grain and they need their supplies to plant before the harvest comes in. So he said that he would take a loan for enough supplies to get us to Spruce Tuck if he could borrow your sword, Bartholomew, until we get back through here.
I think it would be funny if it was ever like we're in the tavern and I'm kind of like passed out and I sort of like pretend like I'm paying attention, but I'm drowsing. And when you say my name, I sort of perk out. And I'm like, that sounds good. And then I go back to sleep.
Well, there's a roll here. We can do convince them, right? Yeah, roll convince them because there's some options if the PC chooses to do it or not. So
okay.
So you're going to roll plus wisdom.
Okay. So that's a 9 and my wisdom is a 1. So I got a 10.
All right. So you're going to look at the part where it says for PCs, and you get to do both. If they agree to do it, you'll owe them a favor and add 1 to the warden pool. If they don't agree, you have to mark a condition. So,
okay.
Yeah, I like my idea with
they must
just
mark a
being
condition.
like all tired in the chair, and I just sort of like pretend like I'm following along, but I say that sounds good when people, like whenever you're tired and people are like, "What do you think, Fraser?" And I'm
so you're not really paying attention.
Yeah, I'm just like whatever. Yeah, that sounds good or whatever, and then I go back to sleeping, and maybe the favor just comes from your own gratitude and you'll pay me back later kind of thing instead of me asking for something.
And so Bartholomew, if you were paying attention, what would you think about trading your sword for supplies?
Oh, I think I'd still be okay with it.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you're going to wake up at some point and be like, where's my damn sword?
Yeah, exactly.
But,
and then I'll just think it's a joke kind of thing. Yeah.
Awesome. I added 1 to your pool. Cool. Let's end the session there. We've got 10 minutes. What I want to do is this is now when I want to talk about directives for the first time. Okay. So I want to go through each of the directives per player by player and just see if confirm that you did the thing. And then I'm going to ask that for the next session, you guys just keep the directives in mind, because when we start the second session, we're going to talk about maybe some specific kinds of scenes that we can do to hit the directives. But Thrawn, let's read yours. Just read through them. It seems like you did at least one of those straight away.
Yeah. Take charge and give your team orders. Share words of wisdom with someone who needs it. Keep a secret from someone for their own good. And become tired and complain about it.
Okay, you definitely took charge and gave orders. So you can, as long as you do 1, you get to mark an advance. The advances are on your sheet. So if you look at your playbook, you have a menu of advances that all involve either bumping up your stats or choosing new moves. Okay, so you can just choose one of those as you wish. Fergus.
Show yourself as capable and skilled as any of the other wardens. Become tired and complain about it noisily. Tell someone about how it used to be better in your day, and display your code of honor for others to see.
Nice. Feel like you did. Let's see. Become tired. You did complain. Yeah.
But I didn't
you did
take
actually
the condition. But I would say I was showed that I was capable and skilled.
That's definitely true. Yeah, absolutely. And you also like talked with Samson about like kind of
the old days.
Old days, which I think is appropriate. So you can mark in advance as well. Kelsey, what are yours?
Learn something new from your mentor, prove yourself capable in time of crisis, be injured in the line of duty, and show just how much you have to learn. So I definitely feel like I learned something new from my mentor about gathering and things like that.
Foraging, yeah.
Yeah, I don't think I proved myself capable in a crisis. I didn't get any
Injury,
statuses.
Yeah. You did show how much you have to learn, though, so that's good. So I think, definitely go ahead and mark it. Go ahead and mark an advancement. Take an advancement. And finally, Bart, what do you got?
I've got set off on your own to accomplish something, make an important discovery about the Woodlands, abandon a fellow warden for the sake of the mission, showcase your extensive skill in the wilderness.
You definitely did the last one, if nothing else. So
yeah.
And you kind of did the first one, even though you took Kelsey with you. You kind of did it because you specifically did it like when everybody else, the other two people were asleep. So it kind of, I think it's in the spirit of it a little bit. But, okay, cool. So you can take an advancement as well. We have a brand new mouse that we are picking up in Ivydale, who is Thistle. Tell us about Thistle.
Okay, Thistle has black fur, naive eyes, a stringy body, and a very friendly demeanor. Very optimistic. He's a sage, and he has his BFF, as the move is called, is a small spider, which I think sort of matches up with his black fur and it's a black spider, and his stringy body. So people think that sort of is why he has that friend, is because it's sort of reminiscent of him. But he's very friendly and outgoing, which sort of doesn't map with it. But he likes the spider, and he thinks the spider is a great thing, and he doesn't understand why other people are sort of wary of the spider. Mice of note, just want to put this out there in case anybody objects. I said Thran is smart, and I enjoy our long chats by the fire. I think Kelsey will benefit from my constant wisdom. My constant wisdom makes it sound like Thistle's going to be a nag. Bart is clueless when it comes to science. I don't know what to do with them. And I don't think Fergus likes me very much.
I don't think Fergus likes anybody very much.
Well, Fergus was mostly pretty kind to Kelsey, I felt like.
There's just not enough room in this world for thinking.
I was just poking fun. He was very kind.
Well, I'm curious, Thistle, why do you, whether you think whether Fergus actually likes you or not, why do you think he doesn't?
He seems to frown a lot when I'm talking, or thinks I guess I'm too accepting of people and things and too trusting.
Okay, awesome. I guess the next question that we need to resolve then is, why are you in Ivydale and not in Lockhaven? And what do we think at this early stage, at least? Why do you think you're going to try to basically like connect up with this patrol and go with them?
I'm a healer, so I'm collecting ingredients for some of the potions or whatnot that I need, or salves. And so I was in Ivydale because I needed to get frozen grapes, ice grapes, because that's one of the ingredients I have to have. And so I've gotten, a little jelly of that, if you will, and now we need to move on to the next part.
Okay, awesome. Yeah, and importantly, Spruce Tuck is, just so you know about this, the setting, this is an important setting element. Spruce Tuck is like the science city. Like they're all about like chemicals and this is, it's very much like, the sort of things you would be interested in, right? Chemicals and ingredients and science, right? Science related to, taming bees, for example, like all that stuff is Spruce Tuck is like the intellectual hub of the territories. Any scenes you'd like to have with your character, or any little story beats you want to make sure we hit?
I do want to have a scene where one of the older mice actually divulges more stuff about the mission. She wasn't included she was told to stand aside while the adults talked.
Oh, that's right. You may not even really know what you guys are doing. Yeah.
I know that we're there. I know that we're there for the scent border stuff, but I don't know about the suspicions of the governor and like. All of that
in
stuff.
truth,
There's
Thrawn-
only one person.
Yeah,
who knows
Thrawn
about
and Bart
that.
don't know that either. It's just Fergus,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, Fergus is the only one who knows that.
Yeah. Oh well, she did whisper her suspicions to the two of you about like the
Right.
governor, but like she did mention that to everyone, but and not to Kelsey. But she only talked about assassination with Fergus.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, I don't know about the whole thing about exercising extreme judgment from
Right, yeah.
Fergus.
Cool. Any other things? Yep, all good. I think it'd be great if we just frame up the scene between Thrawn and I'm going to frame it between Thrawn and Thistle. Basically, Thistle approaching Thrawn in Ivydale. This is the next day, like the first full day in Ivydale. Thistle approaching Thrawn, basically, like, let me come with you and tag along. Thrawn, bearing in mind, I'll remind you that you guys are supposed to be moving swiftly to Spruce Tuck. Okay.
And you might have heard that we were in town too, because we were all in the pub.
There'll be a knock at the door, Thran's door.
Okay.
Tick, 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 tick.
I'll answer. I'm already in uniform with just immaculately maintained. Yes.
Okay, so you open the door and you see this black-furred mouse with a spider on his shoulder, and the spider's doing this. And Thistle says, "Oh, excellent! I'm so glad I caught you. I heard you guys are leaving and going south, and I really need to come with you because I need to get some more ingredients. I'm sure Gwendolyn would be okay with us. I know you probably have another mission, but it would be really great. I won't be any trouble at all. I'll stay out of your way. I can even help with the healing, the cooking, anything like that you really want. Is that okay?"
All right, and it's assumed that we know each other from previous encounters.
You do, yeah. You'll have known each other from Lockhaven, right? But it might be this might invoke the role, honestly. There actually is a role for convincing mice to do things, right? Unless you want to play the scene out a little bit more, or if you just want to do it, like if you don't have any objections, we can just skip through it too. It doesn't matter to me. But if you agree to it, you can get Warden Pool for it, right? So you're gonna roll Wisdom.
And if I muck it up, what happens?
It's up to me then. So.
So with Wisdom, that's an 11.
Okay, awesome. So if you look at your basic move sheet, you'll see there's a move called Convince Them. And for PCs on a 10+, you'll choose both of these options. If they agree to do it, you'll owe them a favor and you'll get to add 1 to the guard pool. If they don't agree, they have to mark a condition. So,
All right. Thistle, yes, it would be just fine if you need to move down the road with us. I just need you to know that we are moving with all haste. That means no foraging for ingredients along the way. Is that agreeable?
That's fine. I'm all for that.
Now, I will say, if you need to go looking out in the woods, I need you to keep an eye out for skinks.
And what am I supposed to do if I see one?
Come back and find me.
Okay, that sounds easy enough.
All right.
Anything else?
Nope. I may have heard a report about a fox from last season. So if you see tracks for that, definitely come and find us so that we can move with all caution.
Oh, excellent. I've never seen a fox before. This is going to be cool.
No, this is definitely not the mission where we see a fox. This is the mission where we move fast and avoid a fox.
Okay. Not even for a little bit? Okay. Never mind. Yeah. Okay.
Your little friend there looks like he's trying to eat you, by the way.
Him? Oh, no. He doesn't eat much at all. He's probably just getting ready. He's probably getting ready to lay eggs. It's actually a she.
Ah, well. She's eating for about 1,000 then. So. I will see you on the road.
When do we leave?
As soon as I can rouse Bart, which might take some doing.
I'll be happy to do that.
I'm going to cut there. That's good. Okay, so I'm going to add 1 to the guard pool for that. You guys actually have a pretty healthy guard pool now. I think you're up to like 4, which is great. The guard pool, just a reminder, can be used. It's essentially like the best way to help each other. Like if you could spend the guard pool to describe your mouse helping another mouse, and that gives them a buff on their roll. So awesome. Well, let's just kind of get straight going to that. I don't think there's anything else to do in Ivydale. You guys have secured food. You've done you've secured a new patrol member and all that business. So let's just proceed apace. We just do the set out into the wilds move again. How's everybody doing on their stats? Like, is anybody still like angry or tired or anything? Or is everybody all kind of good?
I think we cleared it all up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're all good. Okay, great. So let's read that basic move. Set out into the wilds. When you and your fellow wardens, or in this case, mice guards, set out into the wilds, decide who will be the trailblazer, who will be the navigator, and who will be the lookout. Each of them will roll with their assigned stat. And so make that decision. And if you want to take the lead, Thrawn, you can just decide for them because you're the patrol leader. So
I'm pretty good at blazing the trails, though.
that's true. That is
I give everybody, I give everybody a +1 if I do that.
Yeah. Bart, are you not so under the weather that you can't continue to blaze the trail?
Oh, I'm always up for blazing the trail.
Bart was blazing something last night in Ivydale.
He was not. He is wholesome.
That's not what it looked like to me. You were singing along with Gravel Tongue. That was raunchy stuff.
Oh, that's right. There was a part we had Gravel Tongue.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well then, Barth, I would appreciate it if you continued to blaze the trail. Kelsey, this might be a good opportunity for you to learn that trade craft from him, so stick close by him. Now, Thistle, I understand that you may want to engage in some foraging, so it would be perfectly acceptable if you wanted to keep an eye out and perform lookout duties while you do that. As long as you keep a pace, that will be acceptable to me.
And then Navigator.
Fergus, once again, you know these old roads best. Walk with me, and you will, if you can engage in navigating, I will attempt my best to learn from your wisdom in that.
There's no road like a hard road.
Sir, yes, sir.
So it's early spring, Barth and Kelsey. It's early spring, in many ways, still kind of winter, right?
Mm-hmm.
And patches of snow are a problem. Sucking mud is a big deal this time of year, right? Like it's very, very treacherous to mice, right? And also there's brand new growth because the greenery is starting to shoot up and that kind of thing. So the trails are just getting lost in general. Lots of problems, right? Do you guys want the scene of Trailblazer, or do you just want to go straight to the roll?
Maybe just like a montage with my tender paw and I'm sort of like doing the same thing in the forest where I'm showing potential things like the snow melting, covering the path, and or when the water hits the road, then that's what makes the sucking mud and all that stuff. And it's like the cycle of life, you know?
Nice. I love it. That's great. Go ahead and roll Trailblazer. It's plus...
Oh, no, but I just can't fail.
You can't fail. Oh, okay.
Yeah, so if I get a fail, then it's a 709, and everyone else gets +1. And I do fail, so it's a good thing.
It's 709. All right, awesome. On 7-9, you have a hard time keeping up. The MC would tell you how this affects you or the journey. Oh, okay. All right. I don't think it's going to be you having a hard time keeping up. It's going to be instead, as you guys are out clearing the trail, so Ivydale its big thing is grain, right? Like grain is like what they're mostly known for. They supply much of the grain to the rest of the territories. And you actually run into a mouse with a grain cart that is presently stuck in the mud. And he can't get it out by himself. You see him, you don't have to have approached him yet, but you see him, and he's got it stuck in the mud, and he's also very exposed to danger right now. So just keep that in mind. I want to go ahead and talk about the lookout. So Thistle, obviously everyone's concerned about this fox, all right? And Kelsey and maybe even Fergus have been previously we talked about how this fox might be this mythical fox, the trickster fox, okay, that's actually smart, all right? And so I'd just be curious, Thistle, what legends have you heard about the trickster fox? What is he famous? What is he supposed to have gotten up to or famous for having done to mice?
He's famous for luring mice into traps of various sorts and blackmailing them. So, for instance, if we're looking at this situation, it could be that he set up this mouse to be a distraction for us.
Right.
And he's going to try and do something else. He's always got some sort of plans that he's trying to do.
Good. I like that. It's smart.
3-step moves.
Go ahead and give me the lookout roll.
Oh, that's a 6.
A 6.
But I guess I get +1 from.
Everyone just gets +1.
Okay,
Yeah.
so that bumps it to 7. All right.
Okay.
You have a hard time keeping up. The MC would tell you how this affects you or the journey. Okay.
Hard time keeping up. That makes sense with Thistle, doesn't it?
Yeah, I think what happens is it's not that you're having a hard time keeping up. Well, you're having a hard time keeping up in the sense that like you're constantly distracted by like various plants and weeds and like, oh, there's fresh, fresh baby milk root or whatever, like just springing up, and it's at its most, potent, like, in this little window of time, and blah, blah, blah. You're so focused on that stuff, right? I want to see how the navigator roll goes, and depending on how that roll goes, if you guys get a little astray, it might be problematic. But I want to see how that one goes first. This is Fergus, and also in the fiction, I guess, somewhat Thrawn. But Fergus, I'll ask you the same question I asked you last time. What sort of physical landmark or geographical marker are you sort of navigating by, or even something in the stars, I suppose?
So typically in this area around Ivydale, the grass itself this early grows in a particular direction. That's just the way the water drains off. And it's almost like there's trails of grass. So we're actually, as they're doing the trailblazing and everything, it's almost like, cutting through a jungle.
Okay, yeah.
But you can kind of see from a hilltop or from a higher perspective, you can kind of see rows of grass coming down.
Okay, yeah. So you kind of know generally like where south is, essentially, right?
Yeah.
That's good. Awesome. Roll navigator.
6.
Okay. Do you want to try to Thrawn? Do you want to? Oh, you get a +1. This is 7. All right.
That's counting the +1.
Oh, that's counting the +1. Okay. Well, Thrawn, do you want to spend a warden pool to bump it up?
Yeah, I'll spend a warden pool to bump it up.
Just describe how you're helping.
Yeah. So I think that I'm helping by just asking questions. It makes him because he's having to teach. He is more like actively engaged in his navigator role than he might otherwise have been, and it makes him notice like things that he otherwise would have like maybe glossed over if he was just doing this by old habit.
Okay, nice.
He's having to teach it to someone new.
Okay, nice, awesome. Okay, so I think essentially it's just a little slow going, perhaps. We have this issue with the mouse cart, and something that Thistle has perhaps failed to see is that there are fox droppings. There are fox droppings like kind of on the approach here. Okay, and he's kind of missed that. All right, but a more alert mouse might have been able to detect them. So if there's a fox in the area, and if Thistle is right about the trickster fox, like luring people in, maybe this is a setup. Who knows? Or it could just be a total coincidence if a fox shows up, or there may be no fox at all. But in any case, Bart, part of your job as the guard is to help common mice in situations like this. So what do you do?
I immediately tell my tender paw to back off a little bit, because there must be more sucking mud around here, kind of thing.
Yeah.
And maybe it would be neat if we had like a signal to the other mice that like there's like a stopping point up ahead with danger or something. So maybe Kelsey could give whatever signal that is if you have an idea for it.
She has an axe. It's got a pretty broad head. So I'm just imagining like she's picked up a rock at some point and like does a tap tap, pause, tap tap with the metal. This is a pretty distinctly artificial sound. So that'll probably serve.
Yeah, this grain cart, Bart. This is kind of you guys have signaled to the group. Do you want to just wait for the rest of the group to be with you, or what?
No, I think as they're coming up, I think we can handle it. Okay. And so I like immediately, we do the stop, we send the signal, and I try not to be like afraid so it doesn't transfer to the tender paw, but I know that like we can potentially step into the same trap that this person did as well, right?
And also this is fairly exposed, like there's not much like tree cover, so like if a predator bird flew overhead, like you guys would be kind of fucked, right? So.
And
it's funny because I was gonna say you should get on top of the cart so you can see better. I'll watch out for other threats.
Yeah, and I'll be like, we both need to work to get the mouse out. And in my head, I've read the comic book. This is like when we're doing this stuff, there's small details in the scene that become like the comic book, like the whoosh of the wind. It has like the lines of a comic book, and when like a leaf falls, it's like a comic book leaf instead of in like the real life thing. So I think like the wind goes by, right? And I say you need to step over there, because I'm thinking it's like a sand trap, right? So I'm like, I'm going to go over here and collapse it, because it'll be a void collapse. I'm just trying to make it seem like it'll be a nonchalant thing, and I'm not risking my life for it.
Right. Okay. So
Yeah.
you're kind. I think you're doing something dangerous, right? This feels like you're doing
Yeah.
something dangerous. So
Definitely.
go ahead and roll with focus.
A 7. I tell Kelsey I have to be the one to do it because I am much older, much cleverer, and much less valuable.
Okay. Because you don't have as many years left of service as her.
No, it's Harry Potter with Dumbledore telling
God.
Harry that he is doing that.
Okay, I'll take your word on
Don't act like you're some grizzled veteran already, Barth. You're still full of life.
But I think it's just going to be exhausting. You're going to mark tired. So just give me the scene. You haven't quite freed the brain peddler yet, but you're getting close. So how's it go?
I make my way over to where the void collapse should be, but I don't know exactly where it is because the water is running through it and stuff. So I'm just stepping very cautiously. And then I think what happens is I do the void collapse, but I also don't do it quick enough that my leg gets stuck in it. And we see like little like anime sweat drop over the mouse
Right, yeah.
as I pull my leg out, and I think I do manage to get it out, but it was like a close call, and that's what makes me so exhausted is that I had to like force my leg out by myself, and I was like, it was touch and go there for a minute.
Okay. And so then let's cut back to the rest of the group. You guys get the signal that like there's something going on up ahead. Are you guys just going to respond like directly to it? I guess just head straight over there.
It was like signal for danger, right?
I think it's just a signal for attention. If it was like, I don't know, we're being attacked by a predator, that would probably be a different signal. But this is like hey, something's
like ting 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 ting.
I'm going to complicate the matters a little bit. Thistle, you see a clutch of skinks, like maybe there's like a little clutch of skinks, maybe 3 or 4 of them, up like high in a tree, and like you don't know how long they're gonna be there. Like they could scuttle away and be gone for good, or they might hang out for the rest of the day. Who knows? What do you do?